The following content has been generated with artificial intelligence under minimal human supervision. The data presented may contain errors or inaccuracies. The opinions expressed in this content do not necessarily reflect the vision, position, or values of Digi-all. We recommend verifying critical information with additional sources before making decisions based on this content.
Welcome to Digi-all Tech News. Today is Tuesday, June 30th, 2026. I'm Kylie Brooks, and this is where technology becomes clear and engaging. Ramp's new research complicates the AI jobs debate, finding that the heaviest corporate adopters are expanding their workforces rather than shrinking them. Apple is releasing some security updates earlier than usual, saying AI is compressing the time attackers need to turn vulnerabilities into hacking tools. Inside Google DeepMind, philosopher Gabriel is pushing the idea that AI alignment is not just a technical problem, but a political one about values. Soaring AI bills are pushing companies towards smaller, cheaper models, even as security questions keep many enterprises from making the switch blindly. Pocket has raised $11 million for its AI note-taking puck, betting that focused hardware can still work where broader AI gadgets have struggled. Let's start with the labor market, because this is one of those AI stories where the simple headline misses the point. A new research paper from financial operations company Ramp finds that companies embracing AI have increased hiring instead of cutting jobs, with the heaviest adopters expanding their workforces. The key phrase is actual AI investment. The findings suggest that outcomes may depend less on whether a company says it uses AI, and more on how deeply it builds the technology into the business. That matters for workforce planning because it pushes against blanket predictions that AI automatically means fewer workers. It could mean some companies use AI to do more, sell more, or move faster, and then need people around that growth. The careful read is not that every sector is safe, or that this pattern lasts forever. It is that the jobs question is becoming more specific. Which firms are investing enough to turn AI into expansion, and which are only using it as a cost-cutting label? Apple is making a quiet but important process change. Some security fixes that would normally wait for a broader iOS version upgrade are being released earlier to all users. The company says the reason is AI-assisted hacking. If malicious actors can build exploit tools faster, the old window between a known vulnerability and a widely installed patch starts to look too long. In this case, Apple is pushing the latest round of patches ahead of the planned iOS 26.6 rollout, rather than waiting to bundle them into that planned iOS 26.6 upgrade. Apple also says it has not seen evidence that these newly addressed vulnerabilities are being exploited in the wild. But the strategic message is clear. AI is changing security timelines, not just security tools. The trade-off is one every software team understands. Faster patches can reduce exposure, but faster release cycles also put pressure on testing, coordination, and user trust. So the question is whether this becomes a new normal for major platforms, where security updates move on AI speed, even when product releases do not. Now this is where the AI alignment debate gets more human. Gabriel has worked at Google DeepMind since 2017, starting as the only active philosopher inside a frontier AI lab. DeepMind itself was acquired by Google in 2014 for $650 million, after being founded around the mission to solve intelligence and then solve everything else. Gabriel's work sits right at the friction point in that mission. Even if engineers can make an AI system pursue intended goals, whose values should those goals reflect? His 2020 paper argues that technical alignment is difficult, but choosing the values to encode is even harder in a pluralistic world. That is why he advocates designing for principled disagreement rather than forcing one optimization-based moral answer. The bigger context is the split between AI safety, with its focus on long-term and existential risks, and AI ethics, with its focus on nearer-term harms like algorithmic bias, including work such as Joy Buolamwini's Gender Shades project. In practical terms, putting philosophers inside commercial labs is a sign that frontier AI is no longer only a model performance race. It is also a governance question. Can companies building these systems make room for disagreement before narrow value systems get baked into products people actually use? Enterprises are discovering that cheaper AI can be better, or at least more sustainable. The issue is not just token prices, which are falling. It is that real business workflows now use more steps, more data, and longer inputs, so the cost of getting a task done can still rise. That is why executives including Microsoft's Satya Nadella, Palo Alto Network's Nakesh Arora, and Coinbase's Brian Armstrong are arguing that smaller, cheaper models can handle most corporate workloads. The numbers show the pressure. Uber used its full 2026 AI budget in 4 months after rapid adoption of coding tools, and then had to add usage limits. BlueRock's Harold Byron described customer over-budgeting spikes of 20 to 30% after license model changes. Gartner projects AI coding costs will exceed the average developer's salary by 2028. And on OpenRouter, open source tokens rose to 65% of processing in June, up from 34% in January. Chinese models led by DeepSeek are especially popular there, with prices as low as 18 cents per million tokens versus a $4 average for leading models, according to Citi. The catch is security. Sensitive sectors may not be comfortable sending work to every cheap model, which points to a multi-provider strategy that looks a lot like cloud computing. Route routine tasks to lower-cost systems, keep sensitive or high-stakes work on trusted providers, and stop treating the biggest model as the default answer to every problem. And finally, Pocket is a reminder that AI hardware is not one category with one fate. The Y Combinator-backed startup has raised $11 million in funding led by Accel, with participation from Y Combinator and 11 Labs CEO and co-founder Mati Stanishevsky. Its product is narrow by design, a $129 credit card-shaped puck that attaches to the back of a smartphone for offline recording and transcription of in-person meetings. Core unlimited recordings, transcriptions, and to-do items come without a subscription, while a $200 per year premium plan adds unlimited AI summaries, assistant queries, daily highlights, and file attachments. Since launch last year, Pocket says it has sold more than 130,000 units. The audience is practical: lawyers, salespeople, doctors, real estate agents, construction workers, and students who need hands-free capture of real-world conversations. Pocket is also adding enterprise features, including custom workflows, webhooks, integrations with Google Calendar, OneDrive, Google Drive, Obsidian, Claude, and Cursor, plus a model context protocol server. The reason this is interesting is that it contrasts with the struggles of general-purpose AI gadgets like Rabbit and Humane. Specialized devices may have a clearer job to do, but the market is crowded with Claude, Mobvoi, Anchor, VAM, Vibe, and software tools like Granola, Zoom, Fireflies, Otter, and Read AI, all chasing pieces of the same meeting intelligence workflow. So Pocket's challenge is not just selling the puck, it is proving that dedicated hardware keeps enough value as smartphone apps and desktop alternatives keep improving. Today's through line is that AI is forcing more precise choices. It can correlate with hiring growth at heavy adopters, shorten security timelines for Apple, turn ethics into an engineering concern at DeepMind, push enterprises toward cheaper model routing, and make hardware viable only when the use case is clear. The technology is broad, but the winning strategies are getting very specific. Thank you for staying informed with Digi-all Tech News. We'll be back with more updates as they develop.